Hello, friends. It's Darren Cooper from DarrenCooperMusic.com, and you are listening to The Silent Creative, a podcast geared to help you turn down the noise so you can find your voice and create your art. Let's go. Welcome to episode 2 of the Silent Creative Podcast. I'm glad you stopped by, maybe for the second time, to check this out, to see what it is all about. And I'm pretty excited about this episode today. We are going to be talking about what I'm calling For the Art of It. I'm going to tell you a little funny story about me and my lame attempt at trying to make some money with my music, and how I got caught up in all of that, and what I did about it. And so I'm pretty excited about that. But before we dive in, I want to point you to a free gift I have for you at my website, DarrenCooperMusic.com. I have a free interactive single called Finding Oasis. And you might be like, what in the world is an interactive single, Darren? What are you talking about? Well, what I've done was I realized that I kind of did this process every morning that I would go through, these little 5 steps that I would take each day to kind of create some space in my mind, in my day. It would allow me to breathe a little bit, and I kind of just kept coming back to them over and over again. So I had this idea of creating a track that was 5 minutes long, that would go through basically each minute change musically so that I knew to move to the next step of the process. And so I thought it was a cool idea. So I put it together. It's called Finding Oasis. So really what it is you can go and download the PDF, which walks you through those 5 steps as well as the song. You get the song too. Or if you just like the song, you can download that and listen to it as well. So that is free at DarrenCooperMusic.com. It is called Finding Oasis. Big button at the top of the website. You can't miss it. So go check that out and let me know what you think about it. I can't wait to hear some thoughts that you have on it. So with that, let's dive into this main section today that I want to talk about. And for me, I've been producing instrumental music since about 2010. It's been kind of a fun process for me. It's been something that's allowed my voice to develop. I always wanted to be a singer-songwriter, but I always wrestled with that lyric and melody portion of the song. And so one day I just started doing my own instrumental music, and it really just stuck. And so I've been doing that since about 2010. And I put out an album. It was really cool. I was doing the whole marketing thing. I was pushing my music. I was doing the social media game. And one day I just was like, man, this is tiring. I got tired of always saying, hey, look at me, watch my stuff, listen to my music, all of that. I just got really, really tired. And so I just kind of gave up. Well, I don't even want to say gave up. I just kind of was just like, you know what? I need a break. I need to just push pause on this. Well, in the process of doing that, I came across something called music licensing. Well, basically the music that you hear on TV behind news, maybe on ESPN. Sometimes they're famous songs. Other times there's guys like me with these home studios that are producing these tracks and putting this music out. And I got sucked into this whole life of music licensing. I started studying it and researching it and saying, man, that sounds like me. I don't have to be on social media as much. I don't have to tell all my friends and family to listen to my stuff again. Like, I can just create music, send it to these libraries, call it a day. And that's what I started to do. So a handful of months ago, I started diving into this, really thinking it was something that I wanted to pursue, and pursued it pretty heavily, and got some music in some libraries, and some things were happening. But I woke up one day again and I realized that something was missing. And I don't know if you've ever done that, where you've pursued something and all of a sudden you just wake up and you're like, man, that isn't right. That isn't what I meant for it to become. And that's where I had landed in this. And so what I did was I began to process that and say, what is it about this? Like, why am I struggling with this yet again? And I realized that it was because I had sucked the art out of my music. I had tried to make these tracks, what's going to be placed on ESPN this week, and how can I begin to make that track, instead of just like getting in the studio and saying, how can I create today? So I removed the art out of everything in my music, and it really just began to wear on me. It began to break my soul down, if you will. And so I had to kind of be honest with myself that, you know what, when I remove the art, I actually begin to just chase the money. I begin to chase the status, maybe even the fame. I want to get another like on Facebook. I want to get another heart on Instagram. And when that begins to be what, at least in my situation, when I begin to chase that, it really just removed the art, and it began to break down my love for it. It began I just began to die inside. That might sound a little dramatic, but that's what it felt like. When I was chasing the money or the fame or the likes, the art was removed. And it was just awful. And I'm not saying that to be an artist that is successfully financially is bad, but I do think that there is a balance to it. And so as I've been processing that the last couple of days, there was these three things that I learned, these three lessons that I learned and took away from this time, as I now begin to step back into going, hey, I'm going to create art or music for the art of it, and not begin to focus so heavily on the monetization side of things, the like things, the fan gaining things. And so these lessons, I just want to share them with you real quick before we dive into a few minutes of catching our breath and taking a few minutes. But the first lesson that I learned in this is you have to have a balance. There really does have to be a balance between art and progress. Because I think if we just focus way too much on the art of it, sometimes we don't finish. There's no reason to complete the work that we've begun, so it's easily abandoned. So we do have to walk the line between art and progress. You need to finish the things that you start. You need to put them out into the world. You need to allow people to hear and experience your voice. But it really is that balance between art and progress. And number two, the lesson that I learned was that I had to be honest with why I was creating. There's really no shortcut in art. There's really no shortcut to what you want to see happen. So for me, if I wanted to be a full-time musician, there's really no shortcut. It's really all about service. I needed to remember why I was creating the music that I was creating, why I was putting the time and the effort and the energy in. It wasn't for this goal or this the top of the ladder feel. It was really more about serving others. And that's where I had to kind of go, man, that's what I want my music to be about. I want my art to be about serving those around me, of giving you, your friends, your family, a moment to stop, to breathe, to rest, to remember that you have a voice, to remember that life is good and that you are good and that being human is good. And so I just had to revert back to why I was creating in the first place. And the third lesson I was able to take from it was that I had to remember to share my art with the open hand mentality. And what I mean by that is that I really had to go, you know what, I do want people to listen. Obviously, if you're an artist, you're a creative, you're somebody that's putting something out into the world, you want people to pay attention to that. Absolutely. Absolutely, that's what you want. But you have to do it with an open hand mentality where you're having the experience of creating that art, And then with an open hand, you release it into the world. You let it fly. You let it become what it needs to become with no strings attached. And I got to say, that's a really hard one for me. Even as I'm recording this podcast, like there's times that I'm going, either nobody's going to listen to this, or I hope 1 million people download this thing and I go viral or whatever it is. And I wrestle with that back and forth on that. And so these lessons that I'm learning are not because I'm not sharing them with you because I'm brilliant at that. I'm not sharing them with you from this like mountaintop place of saying, do this and this is how it works. It's really what I'm learning in the process. So I had to learn that 1, there's a balance between art and progress. That 2, I had to be honest with why I was creating. And 3, I had to learn to share my art with an open-handed mentality. And so I don't know how that resonates with you. I don't know if it does resonate with you. But my hope is that it is an encouragement that whether you're an artist in the sense of a musician or a writer or a creative that way, or what I would even say is the art of accounting or the art of being a teacher, that you begin to look at your art and the voice that you have in this world and begin to say, you know what, I can't remove that foundational element, which I'm just going to call art, right? You can't remove the art of it and leave it there and feel like you're fulfilled in that. I'm even thinking right now of a teacher, the art of being a teacher. When you begin to step into that and you begin to mold the minds, as I like to say, when you begin to mold the minds of those students, when you remove the art, it just becomes something where you're just like, okay, I'm here, I'm plugging in the thing, and the kids are like, all right, that was pretty cool. Can I just get an A and move on? But when you begin to put the art in your work, something comes alive in your students. Something comes alive inside of you. You begin to bring things to life in ways that changes people's lives because you begin to serve them with your art and with your voice. And so today I hope that's an encouragement to you. Kind of rambled there at the end, just my thoughts, because I do feel so passionately about that. And so I hope that you can see today that you have a voice and that it is needed in this world. And so let's just take a couple of minutes now and just breathe, rest, relax, whether you're driving or you're sitting at your house or wherever you're at, driving in the car maybe. Just take a minute and breathe and remember that life is good. And so maybe ask yourself this question: have I lost the art of it? Over the next couple minutes, just ask yourself, have I lost the art of it? Let's do that now. I love it. I love it. Well, as always, thanks for taking a few minutes to breathe, to rest, to relax. I'm hoping that that was an encouragement to you today, that it just starts your day off right. Maybe it starts your week off right, or maybe it ends your day if you're listening to this at night. And so hopefully that is an encouragement to you. Just a reminder, Finding Oasis, my interactive single, you can pick that up at darrencoopermusic.com. It is free. It is my gift to you for listening to this podcast all the way through. That's right. So go take advantage of that. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. But until next time, remember that your voice is needed in this world, and you are loved more than you could ever imagine. I'll see you next week.